How are we, fellas?
Like
Hello,
Good,
hello.
thanks. Yourself?
Good. Hello. Look, they've all put the shirts up behind them. Look at this. So Rusty Spurs,
Support my local team.
Alan Hammers, and Andy's gone big. Look.
Because it is. It's the super team. Who is that?
Leeds.
I can't quite recognise that badge. It's not a household badge, is it, Andy?
I've unmuted. That's not West Ham. Trev, that's not West Ham. That's Villa Tats.
Oh, it's Villa. Yeah, sorry, you said that. Oh, yeah, because you beat Liverpool 7-2 the other week. Tats, you
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention that.
No, I don't. To be honest, I don't think that's something we need to discuss, is it? Obviously, it breaks my heart being such a passionate and loyal Liverpool supporter.
And then on the other hand, we've got James in his car in the car park.
Yeah.
Kicked out of his house. So, Tan, shall we kick on if I introduce everybody?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that those who are tuning in will know these guys anyway, but we've got Rusty, who's the Spurs fan. We got Alan.
Support my local team.
Yeah, exactly. We got Alan, the Villa fan. We got Andy, the Leeds fan, and we got James. He's a car fan. He's in the car park, just passing the time. So, how are we, guys? We well?
We're all well.
Thanks.
Good, thank you.
Good. So what we're going to do is we'll crack on firstly, because you guys are the ones behind the scenes who make a lot of things tick. You put a lot of hard graft in relation to the young players who come through the system. You're the ones who, like poor old Andy, on a Friday gets a call and I say, can you take one or two players to get some minutes this week? And he has to change things round, and that has a knock-on effect with Rusty and then with James. But these guys, Tats, are top guys. So working really, really hard behind the scenes. And we're all sort of trying to get to the same end goal, which is great. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with you, actually, Alan. Because you emailed me the other day in relation to a couple of funny stories. And one of them is in relation to the under-18s, was in relation to when you were playing a game at Stowmarket and someone decided to break the furniture. Can you enlighten us on that?
Well, it wasn't on purpose, I must add. But it was a few seasons back when I had a good bunch of lads, actually. They've been together for years. Been with Adrian Crow's Fells team, and then they progressed through to my Walsham team. And we had a young lad who came to us at 15 called Callum Dongray, who we nicknamed the Beast because at 15 he was bigger than some of the under-18 lads, some of the 18-year-old lads, not in weight but in stature. And we actually had to get him a shirt especially for him. I might add, he might not like me saying that. But yeah, at Stowmarket, it was the old change rooms before they'd done it up with all their paintings and trying to sort of make it look good. And Dongray just sat on the end of one of the benches and it literally went through the floor. It was unbelievable and everyone just dying with laughter. I'll be honest, there was a bit of water damage underneath this floor where this broke. So not entirely Dongray's fault, but he hasn't lived it down since, unfortunately. And yes, so like the nickname went quite well with him. But he's a brilliant player. He's at Old Newton at the moment, but he's a really good player.
Who paid the bill? Who fit the damage? Did he pay up? Or did Walsham have to pay?
If we mentioned it to them, but they'll probably know now.
Yeah. She kept it quiet as well. Love it.
Well, it wasn't the only bit of damage in the room at the time, so we thought, it could have been done at any point.
It's covered. Yeah, it was covered over, I should imagine. But yeah. We're going to move on to another story, and this one involves you, Alan. Actually, so I don't quite know how to put this, but it's to do with a challenge that you'd kind of set yourself if the under-18s had won the league.
It wasn't so much a challenge. I got some some of my lads, their fathers are good friends of mine. So I've known them for years, going out and nightclubs and stuff like that. And when I was drunk, I kind of pulled a sort of move, especially on stag do's in Amsterdam, I must add, which we called the worm. So it was, like that. And Sam Watson's dad, Matt, my good friend, he knew that obviously I used to do this occasionally when I was drunk. So he told obviously his son, and his son told all the players. And the only way I could kind of get around it was, well, if you win the league, I'll do it. And they didn't win the league that year, but a couple of seasons ago we did win the league. And unfortunately, his other son, Taylor Watson, was in the team that year.
Yeah.
And it went around the team again. So presentation night, I kept my promise. We had a debrief in the changing rooms, which we normally do with, a bit of recording, bit of how the lads felt the season went, got them together, a bit of team bonding for last time. And I was forced to do it. So hopefully you haven't got the clip.
Well,
and
would you believe it?
We couldn't really have that. Could we? I mean, Tats, could you imagine how funny it would be if we had if we had the clip? I mean, Alfie,
you're kidding me, right?
You.
Tell me, boys.
That is cutting edge journalism. That is fresh, hot off the press.
I can't
divulge that, can we?
Can't divulge
There's a more flattering view of other videos, I must add. So just it's been many years since I've done that.
Is there any space in the background? Is that something that you could maybe do on screen now?
No, not at all.
You and the dog.
Well, I really wish I brought a Harvey video along now.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I couldn't tell you that Harvey was the one who sent us that, because that would be wrong. So I'm not going to. But that's brilliant, mate. We watched that last night, and we had a bit of a chuckle at that. So well done.
It's a good effort. A good effort as well.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is. It is. Yeah, there's an idea for the end of season do again, I think. So
let me just put it back to you, Trev. If you win the league, what will you do for your team?
It won't be the worm. I can tell you, it won't be the worm.
He might get
tours.
He might get his name in the program.
So, Alan, before we go on to the next coach, I just want to ask you about. Obviously, you've been at the club a few years now. How long have you been there?
Well, I actually played for Walsham under Mike Powell's in the A-team, early 2000s. Scored a couple of crucial goals. Honestly, last minute winner.
You the one?
Yeah. No. But I think 2008, I came on board as assistant manager with Rob Frankton. And then a couple of years later, 2-3 years later, seasons, I took over. So been there since 2008 in some sort of managerial capacity, I believe.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Fantastic.
So you must have seen a lot of players, a lot of youngsters that have come through the system, and you've helped them on their pathway. But are there any that stand out in particular for you?
Yeah, I've got a few names I wrote down. Steve Fenner, for one. He was my first ever captain at the club. Outstanding, best goalkeeper at the under-18 level. That's for many seasons there. Two players not at the club at the moment, Ryan Gibbs and Cian Whitby.
Yeah.
Ryan was one of my best strikers I've ever had. Unbelievable lad. It actually killed us that Suffolk team picked him up when they hadn't picked any of our players up for many years. We could have won the season that year. And Cian was my captain when we won the league. He was a leader, absolutely brilliant. He was, brilliant. A few other names I've got written down from, still in the club. Sam Watson, another captain, brilliant lad. Harvey Hubbard, obviously with the first team now, but if that was him with the video, then I take that back. And a couple more. Dan Stobbard, again, captain, but I know he's obviously with Old Newton at the moment, but he is one for the future, definitely. He's an outstanding goalkeeper. And Marley Brown. Marley came to us and he honestly was tiny when he first came to us, but he matured and he was one of the best players in the team that year. And obviously he's pushing reserves in the first team, and he will definitely be one for your future as well.
Yeah. You mentioned some talented boys there, and I know there'll be a lot more that are on your mind.
Well, I could have named, so many have gone through to the first team. When we first started, like Jack Brain was one who came from the under-18s, and obviously I know Andy done the under-18s for a few seasons, and he's got many who've come through as well. So, but that's what it's about, bringing the lads through, progressing them through A team, B team, reserves, and ultimately first team. And if that's what we can do, I have great support of Nigel, Graham, and that's what we try and do each year.
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned, and Tats, you probably won't be aware of this, but I've seen the 18s sort of about 3 times this year, and they got a very, very young side this year. So it's a kind of a learning curve. But next year and the year after, they'll be very, very good and very strong.
Definitely.
But they've got some good, talented boys in there, and it's they're worth watching. They're really, really good to watch. It's really exciting. So good times ahead. Good times ahead, Alan. So keep up the good work, mate. Right, we'll move on to James now. We better talk to James quickly, actually, before he gets a parking ticket. Because I don't know where he's loitering at the moment. How are you, James?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, good. So James is for those who are tuning in, James is the A-team manager. He took it over from Mr. Buddy's colleague. When did you take it over?
Literally this season, so sort of just in pre-season and started it this year.
Yeah, that's right. So how are you finding it?
It's a bit of a challenge, but they are a good bunch of lads. They're very connected. The only problem is they are very quiet, but we are building as we can, and they are coming out of their shell more and more, especially with the youngsters coming in. They're sort of becoming a little bit more confident and going out there. But the football we play is very good. We just need to score some goals, which will happen eventually, and we'll get there.
Yeah. No, I once again in pre-season I saw a couple of your games, and I thought you've got some very talented boys in there who, will be pushing and kicking on shortly. So which is good. But I know you sent me sort of 1 or 2 funny stories the other day of a couple of individuals. You've got a couple of lively characters in your dressing room, haven't you? I think one is Bradley Budd. He is probably the quietest player you've ever seen, but you'd never mess with him on a football pitch. As soon as he's running towards you, you duck out the way. But he'll never talk to you up front. But we organised a team night out to get everyone going, and he turned up. Probably the biggest lad in our team. Started on the Stellas. Started knocking them back. It was literally like he was drinking water. Next thing you know, he wanted another 2 Stellas. Went up to the thing, forgot his pin, and we were like, "You all right, Brad? What's going on? You've only had 2 Stellas." Oh, he was struggling. Kept going. Our new signing, Joe Gilbert, came along and decided to bring the shots out. A whole 2 tray load shots came along, and he was sitting there. Next thing you know, he sort of fell asleep in his hands, got chucked out by the dancer, and we got videos later of him literally sleeping on the pavement. So poor old Brad Budd, who's 6 foot something, really didn't take to the drink that night.
Quality.
He'll learn.
Learning curve,
it's all a learning experience. Yeah, I mean, even Tats. I mean, I went. Yeah, Tats. You remember that day with the Peroni up the Morton Hall pub when you then you texted me the following day and said you biked home and fell in the bush. Yeah, so it happens to the best.
Yeah, but I'm going to point out, and this is probably not a great platform to point this out, but Trevor arranges a sort of an after work drink on a Friday, and then invites a few mates round. So we all go up Morton Hall pub. One lad's come from Tuddenham. He's all dressed up. He's got his shoes on. He looks like he's going to go clubbing. He turns up we turn up at 5, 6 o'clock. We have a couple of Peronis, and then Trev gets picked up by his wife, goes home. It's just literally a drink. So I'm left there thinking it is just a drink after work with a lad who's all dressed up wanting to go out. So I'm there till much later. And very unfortunate incident on the way home trying to bike home. It was a hot, sunny day. Loads of excuses. Yeah, we've all
just
done
got to know your levels.
Yeah,
You've got to know your levels, Tats, haven't you? So I should imagine, James, he's probably similar to Alan there, but James, with so many young lads there, you probably see some sights, don't you, with those boys who are just coming to terms with the fact that they can't really drink Stella, although they think they can. You must see somewhere it can almost make them or break them, really, can't you?
Yeah.
Oh, indeed, yeah. It's just good to see them out though, and their football inside though is just shining through. And I think the team stuff is just really bringing them out of their shell. And hopefully we will be right up there this year. And because the foundations are there, and the boys just with everything, they're just bouncing off each other now compared to the start of the season. And we've only had really sort of 3-4 weeks together. So the more and more we keep doing it, and hopefully lockdown comes out the way and we can enjoy it.
So have you got, I know it's difficult to say and you don't want to offend any of the other players, but are there sort of any players you've got in mind you think, I think they've got a real chance of progressing?
Yeah, potentially. I've got a young lad of Josh Howard, who's literally come in this season. Seems quite sprightly on the pitch, always seems to have a good attitude. Also a new boy in Joe Gilbert. I think he's coming on, he's bounced from level to level. We've also got sort of Geordie Asker, Joe Collett. All these players are still relatively young in years, but the attitude that they bring, they want to train every day. They're similar to sort of your Charlie Normans, where they just want to play constantly. I'm always getting nagged on message. My phone's going off, going, "Can we train? Can we train?" And I've only got a certain amount of slots I can use, but I try and occupy them as much as possible. And I really see if they keep going at it the way they are, then they'll definitely progress through the club.
Yeah, it's,
James, you look far too young to be a manager, by the way. Are you a player manager? What's going on?
I'd love to say I'm a player manager, but if you ask the rest of the people, especially Rusty in the club, you can ask them to understand that I'm a terrier on the pitch, and it's probably better I stand on the sidelines than actually on the pitch.
Another one that can't handle his beer.
Yeah. Is that everyone, all the players in the background all saying, "What a hypocrite, what a hypocrite." Talking about Stellas, how dare he?
No, it's brilliant. James, you keep up the good work, mate. I know you're working really, really hard behind the scenes, and we're all sort of kind of working close together, but you keep up the good work. You're doing a great job. So, Rusty.
Hello.
Let's move on to you with the Spurs shirt, and
let's go.
He's just necked 2 bottles of beer ready for this.
Yeah, I'm ready, man. I'd like to neck about 3 more before this as well. Hate things like this. If anyone knows me, they'll know that I've already necked about 3 or 4 anyway, so that's fine.
It's all about prep.
Rusty.
Yes, preparation is key.
Yeah.
Let's kick off talking about characters in your dressing room, and you sent me quite a funny story in relation to the kits and kit sizes after lockdown. So what happened?
Yeah. Well, we've always had 2 extra large kits, and we've got a couple of bigger lads in the team. One's ex-army, is quite bulky, and one's 6'2" centre back Taylor, who needs an extra large kit. Well, we come back in pre-season, there was 3 or 4 more players that need an extra large kit. And we got into the friendlies coming up and that, and there were a few messages, "Can I have the extra large kit?" I was like, "See who's playing? Yeah, we'll try and sort something out." And then I thought, "Yeah, I'm sure you." He goes, "I'm sure you'll come along, and there'll be an extra large kit here for you." And a couple of times, obviously, there wasn't. When the 2 bigger lads were playing, you wouldn't want to mess with them, so they took the extra large kits, and they had to put a large kit on. So it's pretty much like skin tight Superman top kind of thing. They're coming on. Our kit's quite small, to be fair. Anyway, it's not the largest of kits. It comes up quite tight. But then we got into another friendly, and people are messaging me saying I'm not playing if they're in an extra large kit. So I had to have a word with Mike Powers, and he ordered 3 more up. Time we got to the start of the season, we played about 3 or 4 games, and obviously they've been putting a lot of work in and that, and the kits were too big for them. Half the time, I've got about 6 extra large kits now that aren't even used.
Can't win.
Some of them have holded on to them though, but no, that was just one of the stories I thought I'd mention. I won't mention the players that who need the extra large kits anyway. But Will Golden, Hayden Davies, Taylor, Connor, Carl. But we won't mention their names.
That is one of the funniest things I think I've ever heard. When you're talking about players ringing up the manager because they know their pre-season. They know their pre-season has been that bad. They're like, "Oh, you've got to sort me out an extra large."
Yeah, literally, I got messages from loads of players just saying, "Oh, I need an extra large kit. The kit comes up too small." Half of them aren't even that big, but the kit does come up quite small. To be fair, I will give them that.
So we're looking forward to coming out of the next lockdown then and see what that is. You might need those old kits back.
Yeah, I might.
Now there's one stat you've mentioned to me, Russ, which I can't quite get my head around because football's now they talk about stats too much and percentages and what have you. But this is a different stat altogether. Is that you haven't lost a game in over a year, but you haven't won anything yet, and I'm trying to get my head around.
To be fair, we haven't lost many games at all. I've started with this team about 3 years ago now. B team. I took it over from Chris, and he started the A team up again. So we've lost 2 league games in 3 years. Believe it or not, two or 3 league games in 3 years. And the first year was in the Berry League. It was the last year of the Berry League, and there was a bit of hoo-ha with the old league. We finished top, and there was a bit of hoo-ha about players that shouldn't have played and stuff like that. And was met a place in Eds again, and it never happened. They didn't want players again, and so that league was null and void. Even though we only lost two games that season. One was the actually A team, Walsham A team, because they were in that league that year, and we play every team 3 times. I think they won one game. We were short players that year, that game. Not making excuses, but we lost to them. And then the other game was to St Ed's, but we managed to beat St Ed's one game and drew them to another game. But yeah, we should have won the league that year, fair and square. We got to 3 cup finals. Always bottled the cup finals. Never turned up. To be fair, we lost on pens. We lost to some good teams. It seemed to be like we. Play completely different teams that we've played in the league or something like that. Like new players that you've never seen before come in and stuff, even though but anyway, we won't talk about it. Next season come along, obviously, we like that, which would have been last season. We had undefeatable again last season, all season. Then the season obviously got null and void. So we didn't win anything again that season. No trophies, no cups or anything like that. The first cup game we got knocked out by another excuse. We always thought we were going to walk into that cup and win it, and then half of the squad turned up and obviously didn't have half a team and lost that. And then this season obviously we're doing well so far. We haven't lost a game again this season, so I think we've gone over 30 odd league games unbeaten at the minute.
Yeah, which is fantastic.
That is absolutely fantastic. It is, as Tat says.
But
so
we're hoping to get and put in a high league next year, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I'm aware of that, and obviously fingers crossed on that. So, any players in particular that you think that will be stepping up in the near future?
I would like to say, like all of them are on the brink of could be setting up, but some of them are a bit older that probably don't want to. They're just enjoying playing with friends and whatnot in a minute.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I've explained to quite a lot of people, but there is a few youngsters that are really well. There's probably about 4 or 5. Connor Suckley, Adam Bird, all in their early 20s. Jordan Sylvester. You've got George Lilly, really, really good right back. He's been at the club for a few years, who I really rate. He could be playing a lot higher. But they all want game time and that at the minute, so
Yeah.
they're all loving it. Our squad, we're all like family friendly. Everyone loves playing with each other. We all have a lot of banter. We're just like gelling with each other, but they're all willing to pay higher if they can, obviously. But they want to play minutes at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see. That's one for the future. Like hopefully next few seasons we'll develop as a squad and we'll change names or whatever, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. No, well, you're doing a great job as well as the other guys. So you keep up the good work, mate.
Yeah, I'll try.
Keep it going.
I'll try.
Well done, Rusty. Sounds brilliant.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah,
Cheers.
good work there.
Right. So now we're on to the person who's been at the club almost longer than the
but
club's
not
been
least,
there itself. Hey.
Bring the old ones on last, do you?
Yeah.
So let's
We had to rule
introduce
you out.
Andy Atkins. Had to wheel him out. So we introduced Andy Atkins, who's the current reserve team manager, but helped out with the 18s in the past, been at the club a long, long time. So we might as well throw that question to you first, Andy. Exactly how long have you been involved at the club?
I think it was. I think Darren was 16/17, and we got approached by Ricky Boreham. John Parker was running the team over at Sicklesmere. We had a good team, good young team. Louis Kent, Chris Brock, people like that. And I think that Walsham was struggling for the under 18s at that particular time. They had a bit of trouble, and he was looking for players at the time. And Pete Bailey was going to run it. Ricky sort of got us over there, and we took, I think, 16 or 17 players. There was a number of players from Thurston School and a few other players, and they sort of pulled a team together. So Ricky and Pete Bailey started it, and then after that, Pete Bailey became ill, decided to hand it over, so I took it over from them. So, and over the years.
So when are we talking? How long ago was that? When you?
Well, when I first brought the players over, I think so Darren was 16, so that's about 15, 16 years, I think, something like that. So yeah. And Al Marshall was doing the reserves as well, yeah. So Al was doing the reserves. Al Marshall, so your current chairman. So yeah, a lot of people have been there a lot of years, so it's been good to see people come through.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, that reminds me of one of your one of the stories that you sent over to me. That you have some players taking the mickey out of you because of your pre-match talk. So what exactly is it they take the mickey out of you about, Andy?
I have this sheet which they all know about. This sheet before the games, and it's just the same things going through every game. Probably Matt will know, he's come play for us a couple of times. It's the same sheet every time, and it's just to get it into their brains every game. And even Vic's getting into it and he's hiding it away, so I can't find it. Do you know what I mean? And I still have to keep going to it. And they just. There's a story I think I told you, Trev, on that email. Me and Mrs. going out for a walk when we was on lockdown, and all I heard was frame of the goal, it's cargo. And it's just one of the regular sayings we have, because Louis Kemp's always taking free kicks and they're always going to the corner flag, and I keep saying frame of the goal, Louis, frame of the goal. And this car, I don't know who it was, and she goes, "You can't even go out without something coming on about football." It's you get some funny things come on.
Andy, there's a few names there. I mean, you mentioned Louis Kemp, but I know, you've been at the club a long time, and there's a nucleus, I would say, of players that have played with you for a long time that are still down the club. They were down the club when I first started, still down the club now when I come into the clubhouse for a beer after a game. Talk me through some of those that have sort of not necessarily stuck with you, but they must have thoroughly enjoyed playing for you anyway, and they're still playing for you.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the three Bs, the Birchie, Brocky and Barry, and Louis Kemp. Louis Kemp, I think, was when he was at school, so I think how old he was then. He started me with there. Just come through with Barry, he's been there a long while. He came from, let's say, the under 18s, he was the goalkeeper at the time. We tried to get him over at Sickles when he was a lad, but he was playing for Walsham at the time, youngsters. And say Louis has been with us. Brocky, there was 2 Sicklesmere teams, and Brocky come over with them. So they've been there a long time. I mean, obviously Barry's, I think he went to Cornard. He tried himself over there. Brocky and Kempy went to Debenham. Birchie been everywhere. So they've been away, but they've always come back. And there's other players you can talk. Who wants to come back, been back.
Yeah.
To the sports of this world. We've had some fantastic players who come through the reserves, who've come from our team. To be honest, the youngsters who come through and have stuck with us over the years. Gone to university, come back again. And they love the club. They love the people behind it. You had Mike Powers, who's been there since I've been there. The John Holders as well, Gordon Ross. It's too many to mention.
Yeah.
They do so well, and they love the club, and they would play for the club for nothing. But don't say that. But that's the sort of players they are. And I think the ones that are there now, say the Barry, the Rockies, the Birchies, and the Kemps, they're bringing these boys through from.
Get great role models, aren't they? Yeah.
I think that's we've been quite successful. Okay, we've had to lose players. Players have progressed. Kieran Twin, Ryan Twin. The list goes on. And you look for your first team now, and you see the players that are coming through. They've always been good players, but I think they've always been held back a bit. But you've let them go now, and you could see the results, what are coming through. I say, starting with James's team, Rusty's team, our team. It's fantastic for this club, to see it.
Yeah.
These lads keep me young. I'm no spring chicken, but these lads, they're young, they're vibrant. They've got the chat, they have the banter. And that's
definitely. Good set of lads,
And that's what he wants.
Yeah, you've mentioned 2 in particular there, Brocky and Birch. You remind me they're like the Chuckle Brothers, but
definitly.
I think they're brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant for those youngsters, and they keep their feet on the ground and what have you. So, we're talking about Brocky. You sent me a story. It's to do with Vujon, the Indian restaurant in town. Come on, tell us, Andy.
Well, I'm not with Indians anyway, but we have. Now and again we go out for a meal. 4 or 5 of us, we go out for a meal, and we met this last time. I think it was just before lockdown, and we went out for this meal, and we started drinking. Leeds were on telly, believe it or not. Leeds were on telly, so we were watching it a bit late. And then Brocky, using my name, was going to Rissa this time with Vujon for a change. We couldn't get into Vujon, and there's Brocky. He's on the phone using a foreign name, a foreign language. That's my name, changing the times. And they're all hoping if I'm in Vujon, they come past and they're waving through the window, and they're trying to get bookings under my name. I think they're going to get in easier because I get well with the owner. So it's
brilliant.
They're great when they're out. They're a great lot. Lads to go. We have a good laugh.
Yeah, they're good.
I think the last one, I think Barry got so drunk I had to take it back to Thetford. But that's the way it is. We look after each other.
Barry.
And it's been great because now I'm seeing these lads, the youngsters, they're getting married, they're having kids. Do you know what I mean? So it's fantastic to see.
Yeah. No, it's brilliant. You've got a great set of lads, and in particular the sort of, they're not even old, but the more senior ones who are doing a fantastic job with you, Annie. So I'd just like to say for you as well, keep up the good work. You're doing a cracking job. You're all doing a great job, and it's a pleasure to work alongside you guys. And we're all kind of pulling in the same direction, all working together, which is so important.
It's nice. That's nice to see. As somebody maybe more on the outside compared to you guys, that's lovely to see. Everyone, you talk to all of you. You've talked so much about players that you think can maybe step up, but there's a clear path and direction for everybody, for every player. And I think the younger players have so many role models now, haven't they? They've got so many role models that they've seen go through the system, go into the first team, play in the first team, and see that as an opportunity or something that they can replicate. And that's really important, because I know a lot of clubs you can have that set up, but if there's no one actually making it through, what chance do you give the young lads? But if they can see that, they can play for the A team and know that they've got a chance of still getting into the first team, or play for the youth team and have that progression. That's so important. And I think you guys all of you are driving that, which is lovely. Good work.
One thing I'd like to add to that, Tats, actually, I think I may have said this to you before, but we all sat down as a group of people a while ago, and I told these guys, my thoughts for the club going forward on the playing side, and the system of which we were going to play and how we were going to implement it. And we all agreed that every side should play with the same system. And these guys bought into it straight away. And do you know what? That makes such a big difference.
Definitely.
Such a big difference, because you've got players stepping up now who aren't being told to play in a different way because the manager of that side wants to play in a different way. This is, this is great. And I can, as I say, I can only say to these guys here, these are the ones who make my job a lot easier than it potentially could be.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, they're carrying you, to be honest, Trev, if I'm honest.
You could say that. You could say that, Tats.
They will probably have their names in the programme, unlike you.
No, thank you, guys. Brilliant. Keep up the good work.
Good work, guys.
Cheers. Thanks so much.
Can I just ask? Is that Andy's cowboy hat in the background?
That's all the dodgy deals they do on paint, mate. That's what it is.
Just one thing as well. I've had a couple of messages on my phone that I've missed out. A couple of names off the youngsters that should come through. Harvey Sandra is one of them. Harvey, sorry, mate. You don't have to message me, bud. Cheers.
Does he need an extra large shirt as well?
No, he don't. He's one of the ones
No,
that's
he's all right.
small.
Brilliant. I love that.
Can I also say the youngsters who play for the reserves as well, because it's not just about the older boys; it's the youngsters as well. Because they've given us a lot of vibrance this year, probably the last year. Rusty was talking about a player. George Lilly, he was a fantastic player for us from reserves. I'm sure he'll come back stronger. Geordie Asker, another one for Alfie, and another one. These are fantastic players. So they should.
We're very fortunate.
We're just lucky to have so many players.
Yeah. We certainly are. And before we close this, guys, it's been really, really good catching up with you all. And I'm just so pleased that James hasn't got his ticket. His parking ticket, because that did worry me he was going to get a knock on the window and asked to move on. I actually don't know where are you is it a stakeout or something, or are you waiting for someone to rob a bank and you're going to throw him in the back? I mean, what's going on?
I don't really quite want to say what I just had for lunch because it's not along with a diet for a footballer. So
I love it. He's outside McDonald's blatantly.
yeah, that's it.
Get the carbs in. Brilliant. Guys, thank you very much.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers. Thanks.
See you later.
Take care.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.